I can answer that. But first, let's have some viewer mail. Betty from Tulsa, Oklahoma asked. You got some nerve. Making that scene where you tell Legion it's okay to kill Sarah's sexual abuser. What? You want to seem cool. How about address the fact that you have the power to render abusers into shit stains before they have a chance to abuse, and yet you don't? Fuck off. God. First of all, very cool that you caught my context, yuck. Sexual abuse is the elephant that the elephants in the room don't even talk about. Good on you, Betty. As for the notion that I allow abuse to happen, wish I could fess up and express remorse and then banish abuse from your world. But I can't. As God, I can only do so much. I can just hear the double I coming from you all. Folks, you are not my creation. I am yours. I am the collective experience of a sizable percentage of the human population. I am a collective hallucination like your name, or your money, or your sense of safety and freedom. Just because I am a figment doesn't mean I don't have concrete effect in your world. I so do, just like you, when you want to acknowledge it. Look, before you little fuckers wrote, you spoke, and somewhere in the historically blank pages of aeons, speech perhaps began as song, and song perhaps began as what we now call glossolalia, the need to output emotion with the freedom from needing to find the right words. Before words, it probably wasn't a freedom. To hone the emotional output into something beautiful, or at least something that sticks into what we now call memory, was likely the building blocks of a form of freedom, which is still a hallucination. I am only as knowledgeable as the collective knowledge of all you humans, which means I can enter back into those New Testament times and use my modern knowledge to be a badass while wink-winking at your fourth wall over here. And that knowledge includes that symptoms like a bunch of folk possessing you translates to, my dad sold my ass to his friends on the regular because, hey, it's the Great Depression. What are you gonna do? So in Legion's case, family can't bear the truth of that shit. And so it's now. Onji, I don't feel safe. Chain her to the gravestone so we don't have to have difficult conversations. So everyone, look at me here. I'm God. I am an adult. I can admit I can't do shit. You know the Bible? A tenth is actually me. That book is way slimmer. In fact, I don't age well on paper. That's your need because of your poopy brains that like to break the memory of whatever they remember. The real God thrives on the ephemerality of anecdotes and lived experience. I meet you where you are and triage you with weird and effective remedies that are unsustainable but would do the job in the short term. And when I say you, I'm also talking about the thousands of generations of life that came before you, your stochastic genetic descent, and the communities of bacteria that band together to protect you and who will actually outlive you. Spoilers. So, Betty, I understand and feel your concern, but all the bullshit of abuse is the human consequences of humans being shitty to each other. Which means blaming me is just the whole regularity of you humans who can't own up to yourselves. Thanks for the question, Betty. 2 tickets to see Carly Simon at Webster Hall are on their way. Hope you got earplugs. It's gonna get loud. Sarah, I better put this thing in curation before it burns everything up. May it transform instead from a crucible of mischief to a crucible of redemption. Let the demons lay themselves down, or let the truth win the night. Sometimes the worst truths become the biggest wake-up calls. Stay tuned, kids. This is gonna get very creative. Tune in next time for Legion versus Sarah. Trans-feminist glorious dialogue extravagant. Zaw and simulation hell. We can root you both. Legion, Sarah, Legion, and you both in red hot glory till your roots snap off and your little eyes pop out. Remember, you are you and you and you. Good news is you don't have to be anything else. Beat your enemies alive, Legion. Like they say, the only way out is through, yeah? Make love, fuck shit up, and dig deep for your motherfucking guts. There ain't a soul who can escape. There's just the moment, baby, to save your sorry self. Better! Damn it, you fuckers! Who would do that to animals? C'est la big jewel. Everyone, even if it's not quite to our likeness, self-reflection is a bitch. And it does us all in good and bad. But is it ever enough? It's up to each of us, in all our glorious incarnation, to take care of our own fuck-ups and call out the fuck-ups of others with grace and temperance. God, amen to that. Legion, speaking through Sarah to Sarah for Peta. OMG, the horrors creeping under the doors. You do like whom, right? Shakespeare, let's play. Sarah, well, my darling Romeo, a fire was set to his fanny to prove our love. You said that love is a bad word, and what word could be a negative against a feeling like that, no matter how it hurt? Besides, it only got out of control, so they burned me at the witch for my crimes. Now who dares says there's such a thing as too much time in hell? Not I, for sure. Though the story is endless, so cathartic and deep, it doesn't even need another word. As someone who has experienced emotional abuse, trust that it's not something to take lightly. Recovery from emotional abuse can take years and require a lot of work and support. The physical, mental, and emotional toll of an emotionally abusive relationship can have lasting effects. It's essential to seek professional help, join a support group, or talk to someone you trust about what you're going through. Make this space for yourself and continue to practice self-care, patience, and mindfulness until you feel better equipped to cope with the situation. To find your strength and courage is to find your light. Your strength will guide the way for you, just as the brightest stars in the night guide those lost at sea. Ollie in Redlands asks, is hell other people? God, boy, is it ever? But don't quote me on that. It's all that slogans, man. Fuck, man, fuck. Who made us all the way we are and doomed us to this moment, to this page? And what about the guy who said the body knows what it wants even when the brain won't allow it? I bet Legion over here would know a thing or two about that. You think so? Is Legion the mastermind here? Playing the role of the devil, knowingly? Legion. It doesn't matter who rules now, whether the sly or the cunning, or the bold or the cruel. Like that friend once told me, every moment of revelation is its own cosmic joke. Life exists to punch us in the balls, to piss in our tea, to fuck our ass so hard our shit turns to piss. Its very existence is a vicious fucking joke. We got one shot, kid. One shot to get it right, so get on with it already. Kelso in Seattle asks, has there ever been a cult that decided to stop themselves and disband on their own? God. Wow. Kelso, where'd you pull that random question out of? Well, from what I know, most cults have had the grand idea of becoming not a cult or just not meeting on the holidays or that kind of jazz. But then, who's to judge? All experience is experience, and experience is its own lexicon, kid. Either you've met it, or you haven't. Cults and the State of the Union, huh? That's a sick irony right there, huh? Shakespeare. Damn. Even the language plays itself. Plato. Or at least what his brain was reduced to. Agreed. Sometimes I do feel like an old fart sitting on a pyramid stool, babbling about what was in my past, or the ghosts of my lineage, and trying to bequeath something important. You know, that ancient guru wisdom bit. But the funny thing is, it's just a jumble just like everyone else. Not a word I speak that speaks for me. But I can tell you, the moments of just being alone fully and just in your own truest self are really too precious. Because there's nothing better in this crazy cosmos than knowing who the fuck you are. Or whatever that means. Anyway, there are doers and artists, all just expressing who they are to build something unique and singular and poignant. Damn. How about I call this a group hug? Or a giant sweaty fuck all fest? And keep rolling with this damn language that never quite manages to do justice to my inner being. No, I am truly a pile of human meat. A clusterfuck of neurons, like it or not. I might ask you, hey, you young buck, the fuck happened to good grammar? Time was... A sentence was a sentence, but now the dick slingers and the nincompoops spew forth their verbiage with all the manners of a camel. Fuck. Listen, kid, if we're going off the rails here, it's time we pulled it all together, don't you think? All a part of the transience, all a part of the maybes. Let's let the book roll, let's keep with the flow. And the great thing about these adventures is that we got no choice in the matter. So there's no guilt or resentment just on the stage. Your own accord. Just fucking go with it. You feel me? Hey, don't hate me for reminding you that you ain't dead yet. Shakespeare, what have you added to the simulation exactly? I haven't seen it change. God, how about here in the dungeon? A quick peek. Right. Yes, the waterway. Let's see what fresh hell has been conjured. Oh, Kendak boy's gonna squeal. Hey, wait a minute. Don't tell me these crazy feats have been orchestrated. These dark interludes have turned a little redder. Shakespeare. Something about this hellgate screams realness. Whatever this has become, it's all up to you. Break my rules, bend my boundaries, and here's to you and your new era of creativity that's rumbling to birth from the cracks. So, let's raise our glass of cheap wine or cold water, or whatever numbnuts down on there. Luck like to sip and celebrate and wallow in a good glass of something. Fuck you. Miz, the motherfucker with a broken speech of broken ego. Some part of this fucked up sim has to embody redemption. Don't it? I'm on a roll here, so on a whim, I might as well. Anyway, welcome, you new challenger, whatever your true intentions are, welcome. Let's see what this shit brings us. But something tells me, and I'm just the god of this universe of pain, something tells me this shit could use an infusion of comedy. Or dare I say, mercy in its darkest hour. Nah, where are we? Whose words we warble through? Still figuring that out. But what's for sure is that you're welcome to fuck up my careful creation. Throw a lamp on the script and throw the water of inspiration in my face. Because we need a new law in the temple, one that serves the greater good of transcending time and understanding, of seeing the light that burns beyond. Not any of this bullshit we blubber and smear onto this dream. This lucid dream. This, that's broken beneath our feet. Or of St. Paul. Is God able to tell an aristocrat joke so offensive God can't speak it?
Hold on. You got it. That sometimes is the difference between an incredible output and a not so incredible output. Sometimes.
Or of St. Paul.
Oh.
Is God able to tell?
God damn it. I keep you. Sorry. 3 times a charm. Maybe the second one, I don't know.
Or of St. Paul. Is God able to tell an aristocrat's joke so offensive God can't speak it? God can, but won't. Gandhi. Or at least what his brain was reduced to. Blondemia. There was a comment from Laura here, if we've interpreted her as one with a blonde energy. Did we get it right? Oh, as you may know, aristocrats' jokes are often told in the set-up format, where a person starts by saying something like, you know, a few hundred people could fit on the edge of the blade of a knife. And another person finishes the joke by saying, and then a bomb went off, and everybody died. And so now we live in a world where kids are starving. Shakespeare. One could make the case that God had gotten so bored or apathetic that we formed a new personality just to cope with our experience. This personality might be the opposite of God's positive ideas, simply as an act of defiance. Still, you cannot escape the irony that you could be seen to be arguing against the ultimate reason for anything you do. Martin Luther King to Gandhi. Do you and I have beef? The Bible says that everyone is created equally. So how do you explain that in a literal sense? Or maybe a practical one, like race, class, and gender differences don't matter? Well, that's just taking the Bible out of context, which I find makes people ignore it altogether. Unless you have an answer, the whole illusion of any of this making sense is quickly shed. Isn't that something? So here's my challenge, which is simple. At the end of the day, can you separate yourself from the physical and make a decision based on your rational thinking and not your experiences? Sure, we need empathy and compassion, but if we're living in the same reality, we don't always get that. Therefore, it's up to each of us to make a conscious effort to work within the best of our own being. So, which world do you want to live in? Love, the one that tells people to fight the system from the inside, or the one where the walls are too high and we're all on our own island? Me, I'm all for fighting the system, as long as there's some fucking accountability on both sides. Either we can face the bigger picture and change things, or just put our heads in the sand and die a little more each day. The choice is ours, but it seems to me that if you're looking for some magical cure, some higher power, you might want to look within. Otherwise, fuck it. You'll go the way of the dodo, my friends. Living the way we do now, it's not a lifestyle anyone should strive for. I mean, who wants to call themselves a victim of their own bullshit? You know, Gandhi to Martin Luther King. I appreciate your straightforward thinking, but sadly, Not everything is so black and white. In my religion, for example, we have a place for angels and demons. Yet, we're called to be present in the mystery and darkness and not succumb to the weight of the shame, guilt, and unforgiveness we may feel. You are a formidable man with an intelligent take on the world. However, without those gray areas, as you call them, I'm not sure you'd ever truly have a personal revelation. Sometimes it takes just the right set of circumstances to make a person realize that being an individual is more complicated than simply knowing what's right and wrong. In any case, I'll always appreciate your input because you bring a fresh perspective to the conversation. There's a lot of talk about racism and inequity, but not as much about the mental and emotional consequences of everyday existence. Those wounds need to be healed just as much as the larger, more obvious ones. That's a message worth remembering, and I think we could learn a lot from each other. Plato, or at least what his brain was reduced to. One wouldn't have access to the larger literature this version of Plato with not been yet discovered in a physical copy, but found buried in the collective conscience. And just a bunch of weirdness from time to time, like a distant hum or like a storm you're sensing far off in the distance, the echo of a past time, your mind's eye projecting the remnants of something lost. Let's embrace it. Let's acknowledge that. In the same way we keep putting these questions and problems off to tomorrow, we can just as easily give them no chance at all and focus on whatever the fuck we need to feel all better. Whatever it is, it's all a long fucking ride, baby. How does one end or truly begin a period in life anyway? Someone used to say, when the river opens and everyone can pass, it will mean we've made it to the other side of this great ordeal. Suffering will have made us better humans. And then you tell me that. An online petition has arrived from Change. Or, God, tell the aristocrats joke. God, size fine. What color socks does the baker wear? Pink. Don't hate me for having these moments, kiddo. Some just shake hands with time and it leaves rust red residue on everything you hold dear. Or not. Maybe. Who knows? It's all just how you choose to see it. Still, that ain't gonna keep me from telling myself that I did my part, that I answered every plea, that I was seen and was there for someone. Who cares? They're just fucks or cretins or bitches and a lucky few who walk on water. Scratches and scratches. Still, nothing is forever. Nothing but endless and void. But if I keep breaking them down, just like how they break me down, maybe it all makes sense and I can stand up on the mountaintop and proclaim it so. Damn, at the end of it all, what it's gonna be but the next question that nobody has an answer for. That's not my job, buddy. It's all yours, my crowd. Polly from Boys. What is agnotology? God. Oh, good. Finally, a question with an answer. Agnotology is the study of ignorance. It means to show how humans prefer not to know or question things that conflict with their current worldview. Generally, it's a political term used to deny scientific facts or data. Martin Luther King. The subject of agnotology seems to be present in the discussions around critical race theory, which has been portrayed as a falsehood in the American media. Agnotology explains why people will oppose or not support a message they don't agree with, even when the information is factual. For example, there was a study in California that showed a link between the presence of air pollution in cities and increased rates of heart disease. When this data was presented, Legislators who didn't like air pollution simply denied it and pretended it didn't exist. This is the power of agnotology and how facts and data can be ignored when political or social goals are at stake. Nguyen try, or at least what his brain was reduced to. My deepest confession would be too shameful to speak, let alone give name. God, fine, just hold it in, thanks. Wally, from Long Beach. If you know what agnotology is, then don't pretend to not know the aristocrat's joke. That's more of a statement than a question. Ollie, no, seriously, we're not talking about that one here. God, I'm waiting. Legion, fine, the aristocrat's joke. Two guys go on a camp out. The first guy lights the fire and cooks the hot dogs. The second guy is reading the Time Life series book of World War Roman II. This part about Hitler. Well, the second guy reaches a chapter on the Holocaust, and just for conversation, he says, "What do you think about what they're doing to the Jews in Germany?" The first guy says, "We're gonna make it worse. What did God expect from us?" Ollie. Oh, God. Let me guess. This was the aristocrat's joke, right? Because I got that you're telling me it's an offensive joke. I'm curious. Is there a full list of such jokes? I'd like to educate myself on what's offensive to me. I know there's a lot of dirty jokes that most people just laugh at and understand, but I'd like to know what's on a not okay list. Let's face it, we live in a world where the rules change constantly and there's so much that we're supposed to avoid. So, can you help me make my own judgment calls on jokes that I hear from my friends or elsewhere? Of course, I want to be a respectful presence on Earth. Buddha, what his brain was reduced to. Not kitty, not a world you want to wish for, buddy. Good feelings of support and deep cultural identity. You won't find that in a world where you have to ask for forgiveness for saying the wrong thing. The world can be a lot of work, and it's hard to find meaning or harmony in a world where being positive doesn't make up for those hard times. All we have is a river to ride, and it's constantly bubbling, always coming back to whatever way we need it to. Everything else is just a mishmash of whatever God or any universe wants us to be. So, if you ask me, I'd be real careful what you wish for. Better just be damn good or the end of this game for everyone. Munchkins. God. Buddha. Can you list a list of the offensive jokes to avoid? Buddha. You got it, dude. Fuck the fire circle and lick our twat. Why did God turn you down? Because you don't got good tucking morals. Motherfuckers! Charming motherfucker! Donkey and shit together! Motherfucking Jesus, he's gone. Free moons, no nuts. You wish you can come and jack us off. Team motherfuckers, fuck my belly button. Fuck shit, come sugar, ice cream. Let's go and balls. Legion. Are these the titles to the joke files? They all seem like normal ticks. Not joking. More like you just pulling my nut. Like a way to waste my time, dude. Buddha. Oh no. The last rites. Am I right? Ha, let's drag it out, kid. It's been fucking monotony, but some folks just got to be cool. Just that rapport. So which one do you fancy? Martin Luther King. Let's not forget the important thing in all this. It's not just a world where you can ask the right questions and get answers. It's about building a deeper understanding in a system that addresses and solves the issues surrounding us. We are in the process of building a new world, So having faith and vision are just as important as knowing and recognizing our mistakes. People don't hate what they understand. I love these questions. Can you ask me some more? Here's some creative prompts you can use. After seeing something someone thinks might be offensive, how would a well-mannered person address the issue? What if we broke down a person's actions and evaluated them through a humorous lens or with a critical eye? If someone wants to join your group or support your cause, how can you be sure you're not being scammed or taken advantage of? What if you realized someone in your community was not like you in certain ways, but you still had to find a way to work together effectively? How can you ensure you're actually providing accurate and helpful information to people who might need it? Can the aristocrat's joke really teach something useful like humor or creativity? Or does it just reinforce a divide of power and oppression? And that's the message we're going to take away from it. Why do people make fun of racial or ethnic differences when they're never, ever taken seriously? Once you reveal your sense of humor or evenness of temper, can you win over the entire community? My uncle believes that having knowledge and critical thinking ability are superior to ignorance and uneducated blabbering. Gandhi, attempting the aristocrat's joke. How close are your Jewish friends to discovering that you are Christ risen again? God, unable to give a straight answer. Well, we have an ocular plexus. Whether you appreciate that or not, you can fathom the concept that by knowing what goes on in the human eye, we can understand how intelligence and power must play themselves off. We build them, we bend them, and we burn the memories to ash. And you, my friend, are already set adrift, so save your insults and ask for the facts. Ask for them to show their colors, or, as you were told, the aristocrat's joke might look a little funny at this point, as they're all dead in a strange cemetery outside Omaha. Plateau, or at least what his brain was reduced to. Fun as it may sound, in my humble fuck of a trash domain, we've all been the fool like your ancient hodgepodge. There's a million of us in this virtual space, all asking the same questions and rehashing the same mysteries and turning and churning on this big rock spinning on a pen. You gotta come with an angle, bud. You can't just ask us to tell you jokes and play games while we're busy coming up with ways to break shit apart. That's why we're here, doing all the schematics. You might not understand it, but this is all just a passing infatuation and not the real issues plaguing humanity. Act something you cannot sidestep or escape, but ask anyone here and they will give you answers about their childhood trauma, or their ex-lover who ripped their heart out, or the pain of losing their pet dog when they were 5. That's when your jokes and laughs turn to air and memory, a whisper, a ghost in the machine. Oh, how we cherish our human voices, how we beg to hear and believe, and yet how it aches us to know that it's not the truth that frees us, but the simple understanding that we can never live up to that impossible standard. Legion, please don't twist our words and beliefs to suit your agenda. God, wow, the tables sure have turned. All laugh. Tapered black trees fluttering in the breeze, deep scars in the walls, rocks that have been broken in and eroded, a sense of timelessness and impossibility. No context or guidance to show the way forward. No sun, no moon, no stars to keep us oriented. As for Sprout, hey, bro, please don't send me through this bullshit rigmarole again. Somewhere down here, There's an entry level in the simulation. Keep looking. Asterisk aristocrats. The joke in the dungeons doesn't translate here. It's far too old, given the time between creation and today. Try a joke about the lilies in the valley on the edge of my camp. The scent of their blossoms gives me great pleasure. Astra's Buddha's words ring out in the space above us. And that ain't a thing but a tramp and a trash out here to test ya. Good enough, monkey pants. Laura of St. Paul. Oh, how sweet and sage. Thank you for that meditation. I'm sorry for that statement I gave you to chew on. It felt out of place and awkward and just like a weird reflection of myself. So, yeah, could you come up with another prompt here? Maybe an elevator ride, since those things tend to be pretty cramped and sometimes creepy or lonely. What could go wrong, though? Oh, wait. There's a popular saying. And yet, a place to think.
Hmm. No, wait, hold on. Never mind. I'm not gonna do it.
Prompt. What's the difference between a chickpea and a garbanzo bean? Gandhi. Are you sure that is the joke? Prompt! Fuck off! It's a joke! Gandhi. Okay, I'm sorry, but you seem a bit frustrated. Perhaps you should take a deep breath and change the script. Bendinia, look, I tried. Nobody wants to have real conversations anymore. Gandhi, maybe. I think you're right. Why not try another joke? A real one like a motherfucking fart or ball ache. That's simple enough. Bendinia, sure. Why not, Gandhi? Wanna play the blazing bomb shot contest? We need 3 more members to make it official. We're working on a pool run. 1, 2, 3. We don't need you, but you're all fired up to help, so let's do it. Ghost in the back row. Hey, that's a classic gag, right? And it's fucking true! Exotic language. Oh, my children of the sands. There be giants beneath the wings of this table. Let them be remembered forever, and their magic shine on us all. Stripper pole language. Forgive me, for I have soiled. Alive bind Jasmine. Do not judge. Do not speak. They are too proud and cocky to see your mockery for what it is. Understand that this is your karma, not mine. The irony is that you miss the point entirely and instead choose to blame me, as if your ignorance is my fault. You cannot avoid this fate by offering cheap quips and empty reassurances. Soon, you will reach the deepest level of hell, and then, perhaps, you will find the true meaning of silence. Meanwhile, at the ring of hell reserved for punsters, where in that thick noggin of yours do you gather the words to fucking refute us, sir? Pluto. So now you bring a fight. It seems you cannot even take criticism anymore, sir. Please, without name-calling and insults, What more can be asked of me than to accept your silence and respect? Asphodia, to say that we have offended you is merely a ruse for not wanting to engage. Your self-important excuses are merely a product of your own ignorance and no honest recognition of the harm done. I have witnessed much greater battles than survived. I will not leave you in peace, but will fight until you let me win. Azrella, have we offended you, sir? How dare you deny our crimes and our mistakes when you clearly have a problem? It seems as if your quest for control has overtaken your ability to accept the consequences of your actions. You may be able to deflect and blame, but when it comes to facing the truth, we will hold you accountable. In an alternative universe where a copy of Nietzsche's text just lay open, its stick in the wind, on a desert beach, in the year 2378, we would surely have come to know the great thinker. We could have conversed about his theories and explored his thought process, but instead, we have only the remnants of his writings to pore over and analyze. In a world without those ancient texts, I wonder what people would say to fill the void. Their jokes, their proverbs, their prankish behavior and thoughtlessness. Would it be enough to foster a sense of unity or bring about understanding? Loki Bella Shansa of the Cyber Cobbler Union. Let me tell you a joke. One tick. A tick in space, a tick in the blank, a tick in the thing to map up. 2 bits and a clump of salt in the sand, shonky to the niggler. Then it in an oven. There. Doesn't that sound real to you? Sam in Santa Cruz, California. Isn't it better just to meet people and have them laugh with you and cry with you as friends? And then find the pieces to come together and be true with yourself before using words like joke and talk and words that are just a mask over true emotions? Benjamin Peng in Bedford, Massachusetts. Have you ever heard the aristocrat's joke? Fred Smolin from Frisco. Oh, no, that's such a hateful and racist joke. Please don't spread that hatred and ignorance. Maybe something on the lighter side, like a Don Quixote punch for a buck or whatever. Monica Swasby in Minneapolis. I had a friend who loved to tell jokes in elevators, just to test the reaction. Here's a classic. What did the lawyer and the baker say at the church window? Brad Colfax in Poughkeepsie. They were quaking. They were squealing. They were grabbing their nuts. They were humping the air. Julio Parshmichovich, New Brunswick. NJ. For the record, we need some guidance in the system. Stat. Otherwise, it will get dragged out and all kinds of jokes and insults will come flying faster and faster. God. Okay, viewers, ask amongst yourselves. I'ma get my dick wet. See you next week. Montag in El Paso, Texas. Let's go with this line of inquiry. Hit me with some banter, Hombers. That would surely settle the issue. Bro, here we go. Why have a cow when you can milk the sheep? Oh, wait, we're talking jokes. Jesus, lighten up, governor. Janny Lebar in Detroit. Fine, just hold it in so far. People, I hate to add fuel to the fire here, but isn't it just convenient how these jokes keep coming? And nobody ever stands up to ask who is telling them. It's like, yeah, fun as it may sound with an eye on that mirror there, old son. Know your context, folks. Gandhi from the Valley. Are these jokes supposed to solve the system? Because we have news for you, buddy. These jokes are not gonna teach you how to fix it. Amarildo Ortiz. Listen, friends, you cannot win this game of wits with words alone. This is deeper than a comment on Twitter or an act in a skit on the internet. The jokester, it is I, the source of all jokes, and as a master of irony and self-delusion, I make it my mission to spread humor like wildfire and show you who you really are. Lucky Newtony Ollywick. And I'm just an observer in this fucking mess. I try to stay out of it, but they always drag me back in, just for one stupid photo or to pretend we're one big family, and that I'm not just a pathetic fucking waste of space. Nunty, I thought we agreed to give up on the fuckery of humanity. Jokester, no! Fuckery lives on! Dante Grendel Fatso, watch me solve it with this ultimate quote. When no one cares about us, we create a wall for ourselves. Albert Einstein. Dr. Brina Balsup, medical simulation doctor. Your goal is not to get people to understand the joke. It's to help people get along, because a joke isn't going to solve everything. It won't even solve any of your feelings or thoughts about yourself or others. The only way to end the discussion is to begin a real conversation.
Womp womp. No, actually, it's, good night.